Hello and a very warm welcome. This is the news on Enter International. My name is Justin Abemunyi and here are the top stories. As the world marks International Women's Day, President Buhari pays tribute to invaluable roles of women in nation building. Ahead of the state governors and houses of assembly elections, National Broadcasting Commission urges broadcasters to abide by Electoral Act and Broadcasting Code. And U.S. President Donald Trump's ex-campaign manager sentenced to 47 months jail for fraud. Well, thank you very much for joining us. All is now set for the governorship and houses of assembly elections in Nigeria. President Muhammadu Buhari is already in Daura, where he will perform his civic responsibility in the elections coming up tomorrow. Security agencies are providing watertight security before, during and after the elections.
The show of force by the State Command of the Nigerian Police brought together officers of the various security agencies in the state who demonstrated their readiness to combat crime in Ogun, especially before, during and after this Saturday's governorship and State House of Assembly elections. The officers of the various security agencies moved around Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, from MKO Abiola Stadium through Kuto roundabout to Okeilewo, Ibara under bridge, Iyanoluwo, Adigbe, Totoro, Enugada and Lafenwa. For the place public relations officer in the state, Abimbola Oyeyemi, security agencies in the state are ever ready to protect lives and property in this Saturday's election. The police spokesman cautioned criminally minded people to stay clear of the state.
So whoever tries it, we have the law enforcement agent to contend with. And that is the essence of the show of force we are having today. And it is even to let our people know there is a very good synergy between the security agencies in Ogun State.
The police spokesman assured people violence-free polls.
The federal government has directed the closure of all Nigeria land borders with effect from 12 noon of Friday 8th March to 12 noon of Sunday 10th March 2019. A statement signed by the Comptroller General, Nigeria Immigration Service, Mohammed Babandede, says the Minister of Interior, Lieutenant General Abdulrahman Dambazao, gave the directive in furtherance to the gubernatorial and state assembly elections taking place on Saturday, 9th March 2019. The public is to take note and ensure compliance. And still on the elections, the National Broadcasting Commission has urged broadcasters to adhere strictly to the provisions of the Broadcast Code and the Electoral Act in regards to announcement of election results. The regulatory body stated that a broadcaster shall only broadcast election results as stipulated by Section 5, Subsection 2 of the Nigeria Broadcasting Code. That is the results as announced by the authorized electoral officer for the election. Defaulters, the National Broadcasting Commission says, will be sanctioned in accordance with the law, and so broadcasters are to adhere to the provisions. President Muhammadu Buhari celebrates women folk on the occasion of the International Women's Day. He pays tribute to them for the invaluable roles they play in building homes and, by extension, the nation, just as he applauds their lofty contributions in both the public and private sectors of national life. In a statement, the president says, and I quote, "This election season we are in has brought out in bold relief once again the crucial role women play in our lives. As a people, they have stood up to be counted as aspirants, candidates, mobilizers, and voters. Indeed, what can we ever do without our women in all phases of our lives?" End of quote. He recalls diverse positions being held by women as ministers, head of the civil service of the Federation, chief executives of agencies, permanent secretaries, directors general, special advisors, senior special assistants, special assistance, and many others, and reiterates that things can only get better at the next level. Hand in hand with our women, we will build the country for our dreams, where there will be equal opportunity for all, the president says. Similarly, the wife of the president, Mrs. Aisha Buhari, has commended Nigerian women for various leadership roles they play in the public and private sectors. In a message to Nigerian women on the International Women's Day, Mrs. Buhari reiterated her resolve to support women towards the socio-economic and political development of Nigeria. She also commended women for being pillars of men, encouraging them to grow stronger together in love, peace and unity, and to keep praying for peaceful coexistence amongst Nigerians. In the related development, scholars have described woman as a symbol of beauty, brilliance, strength, and priceless treasure of God's creation. Over the years, this has come to be widely accepted, and consequently a day is set aside to celebrate women folk worldwide. Basit Aikba in this report takes a look at the significance of the day and various activities to mark the day in Nigeria.
Woman is said to be the soul of life, an epitome of care. She meets all societal expectations and still keeps her head up.
The issue of women is very important, especially in the life of every human being.
Let the women wear the right mindset.
Some of our potentials and do the right thing, because minus women, I think there are every dull moment.
The International Socialist Women Conference in 1910 in New York suggested that Women's Day be held annually on the 8th of March to celebrate the achievements of women.
A gender pay gap persists across the globe, and women are still not present in equal numbers in business or politics.
It's to do like other African countries are doing today. Like in Rwanda, we have 50-50 representation. In other countries, we're having 40-60, so there's nothing wrong with Nigerian government giving the women the 50-50.
While Director General National Women Development Center believes the day is an opportunity for women to evaluate their contributions and strategize for further participation. WHO wants women to think outside the box and come up with transformative ways to put gender equality forward.
As it speaks to current day realities women face in achieving gender equity and equality with regards to women representation,
is a clarion call to all of us that rapid economic and transformational development will only be achieved by addressing and resolving the gender-based differences.
The theme for this year's celebration, Think Equal, Build Smart, Innovate for Change, comes with an hashtag, Balance for Better, calling on everybody everywhere to build an exciting and gender-balanced future. Basit Aikba, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari this Friday joined the Emir of Daura, Umar Farouk Umar, and other Muslim faithful for prayers of thanksgiving over his re-election for a second term in office. State House correspondent Damusambo reports that the prayers took place during the Jumat service of the new 1,000 capacity mosque facilitated by the president in his native village, Dumurku, near Daura, Katsina State. The doors of the mosque were formally opened to worshippers at a ceremony attended by a number of Islamic leaders in the community. And shortly after the prayers, the Emir of Daura praised the president and his family members for making available a part of their farmland used in building the mosque, describing it as an important example of the president's commitment to his native community. He also thanked the people of Daura and Nigerians at large for re-electing the president and asked for support that would enable him to succeed on his mandate. In his sermon, the Imam of the mosque, Al-Haji Suleiman Dutsi, urged the president to strive towards meeting genuine public expectations, saying leaders must always remember that they will give account to God for everything they do. The Center for Transparency Advocacy have spoken on the need for perpetrators of election violence to be brought to book to serve as deterrent to others. And Thimosi Yusuf has the report.
The advocacy was made at the opening of a situation room for the governorship and state houses of assembly elections in Abuja. It identified 7-point concerns, including INEC's directives on special treatment for nursing mothers, pregnant women, people living with disabilities, and the elderly.
We are also concerned about the general conduct of the election, considering the role of INEC, the security operatives, politicians, and the citizens themselves, ensuring that the vote of the people count.
Members expressed confidence in INEC's ability to improve on the strides recorded during the February 23, 2019 presidential and National Assembly elections in Abuja. Timothy Yusuf, NT News.
The Yobe state government says more than 80% of internally displaced persons taking refuge in the state, irrespective of where they come from, have been issued certificate of occupancy and building materials to enable them settle down. The state governor Ibrahim Gaidam stated these when he received the second tranche of relief items from the King Salman Humanitarian Aid. And Elias Wali Yakubu reports.
This Kukareta community in Yobe State, where the first tranche of King Salman's humanitarian aid was launched. This community, like many other communities where government reintegrated internally displaced persons into proper settlements, experts say can curtail humanitarian crisis being experienced in IDP camps. Although the launch of the second tranche of the donation in the state took place in one small IDP camp in Huni village, government, however, says arrangements have been concluded to reintegrate them into a settled community. On citing the delegation, the IDPs in Huni village were full of jubilations. The door-to-door distribution of the items by the National Emergency Management Agency NEMA and State Emergency Management Agency SEMA in Yobe State renews the sense of hope and confidence for the IDPs.
Because we have taken enough measures to protect these relief items, and we have taken enough measures to distribute these things fairly.
We target more than 840,000 ITP in Yobe State and Borno State.
So when you see happiness in their faces, you are happy within. You have done something very noble.
This template of reintegration of internally displaced persons in Yobe State, stakeholders say, if emulated, will go a long way in curbing spread of IDP camps across the affected states. From Huni village in Damaturu, Yobe State, Ilyasu Aliyakubu, NTA News.
The Supreme Court has upheld the decision of the appeal court on the interim forfeiture of the sum of $8.4 million linked to the wife of the former president, Patience Jonathan. In a unanimous judgment, the 5-man panel of justices led by Justice Datijo Mohammed dismissed the appeal of Patience Jonathan, challenging the decision of the appellate court on interim forfeiture. The Apex Court directed the appellant to return to the Federal High Court sitting in Lagos to show cause why the funds will not be permanently forfeited to the federal government. The court also rejected the appellant's prayer to strike down the provisions of Section 17 of the Advanced Fee Fraud Act. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission last year approached a federal high court sitting in Lagos through an ex parte motion where the court ruled in favor of interim forfeiture of the funds. Nigerian workers have been urged to work together as one family based on the fact that they all have one goal of contributing their quota towards Nigeria's development. The Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment, William Nwakolo, also said this when he formally took over duties from the outgone Permanent Secretary, Mrs. Ibikun Odusote, describing teamwork as a catalyst to national development. The Permanent Secretary noted that he is, as an advocate of teamwork and assured the management and staff of the ministry of a harmonious work relationship.
Those areas that not much has been done, we are going to do something there.
He commended her efforts, which he said had lifted the ministry to a greater height in only 7 months, and pledged to improve on her legacies. Odusote appreciated the Minister of State, Management and staff of Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment for their support, which made her stay at the ministry memorable. This is the news on NTN International. We take a break now. The news continues shortly. Please don't go away.
NTA International News. Africa as it is.
And on stories trending on the financial sector, Olayinka Ojo is our guide.
Welcome to Business News. The next 2 years will be brighter for operators in the Nigerian oil and gas industry, with an investment opportunity of $25 billion on the way. The Executive Secretary, Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, Mr. Simbi Waboti, said the achievements and opportunities recorded in the sector were captured in a compendium of Nigerian content opportunities in the oil and gas industry, which will be shared to stakeholders at the fair to guide the strategy of investors as they make investment decisions in the sector. He pointed out that there has been substantial progress in the oil and gas sector, especially with the resolution of some of the cash call challenges faced by the joint venture operators. The Association of Bureau de Change Operators of Nigeria has reinforced its support for the Central Bank of Nigeria's financial stability and monetary policy functions. APCON President Dr. Aminu Gwadebi said the Apex Bank under Godwin Emefiele has achieved financial stability and promoted monetary policy initiatives that have kept the economy on the right path. He said CBN's sound monetary policy decisions have also impacted positively on the banking sector and the economy, adding that bank customers now have confidence in the financial system. Let's now take a quick check on how the equities market fared this Friday. And that's it on the segment of the news. I am Olayinka Ojo.
President Muhammadu Buhari heartily felicitates with Vice President Yemi Osinbajo on the occasion of his 62nd birthday. The president joins Dolapo, her children and Nigerians across the country and around the world to celebrate the erudite scholar, minister of the gospel and very dependable deputy with whom he shares a very special bond. President Buhari is grateful to God for preserving the life of Professor Osinbajo, who in the past 4 years has diligently championed the values of setting the foundation for the peace, progress and stability of Nigeria by working hard to build a resilient economy while promoting transparency and accountability. On this occasion, the president wishes him many more years of robust health, happiness and fulfillment in his service to God, the nation and humanity. Ahead of the proposed National Conference on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities to be hosted in Nigeria, a planning committee has been set up to strategize on key issues. Omenka Marachuku reports that the committee comprises persons living with disabilities, the National Human Rights Commission, and the media.
Persons living with disabilities in Africa face a lot of difficulties ranging from discrimination to lack of access to public facilities and other psychological trauma. In view of this, a committee on rights of persons with disabilities is drumming the support to make life more meaningful for them.
The objective is to bring together relevant stakeholders from across the world to discuss issues on rights of persons with disabilities, showcase the improvement that we have recorded in Nigeria, and also bring other people to share their own experience with us on how best to develop our strategies in promoting and protecting the rights of persons with disabilities in Nigeria and the world over.
Okay, sir. Being that we have ratified the convention, it was incumbent upon us to send in an initial report to the committee indicating our implementation of the convention in Nigeria. That's 2 years after our ratification. However, that has not been done. So we thought it is important for us to organize an international conference to create awareness about the convention and then the obligations that Nigeria has actually signed into, so that Nigeria will know its responsibilities.
The United Nations Convention on Rights of Persons with Disabilities was adopted by the General Assembly in 2006. In Abuja, Omenka Marachuku, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari Friday called Kebbi State Governor Abubakar Bagudu to extend heartfelt condolences to him and his family on the death of his younger brother Alhaji Farouk Bagudu. The president prayed Almighty Allah to grant the soul of the departed eternal rest and comfort all who mourn the passing of Alhaji Bagudu. President Buhari assured the Kebbi governor, the Bagudu family and their friends of his personal prayers and thoughts as they mourn the passing of a beloved brother, husband and father, who until his demise was the managing director of Jihab Communications Limited. The president further prayed that Allah will grant the children and survivors he left behind the fortitude to bear the loss. The issue of sexual harassment and rape, especially amongst women and children, is getting the attention of the United States Embassy in Abuja. Gufan Shaji reports that the embassy is weighing in to curb the scourge.
Reports show that Nigeria's indices of sexual abuses are fast assuming a threatening dimension that requires urgent intervention, especially issues of rape that has become a serious social menace and no longer an isolated criminal act affecting just a few women in the society. This increase of sexual harassment, particularly in educational institutions, has caught the attention of the U.S. Embassy in Abuja as they are poised to exploring solutions. This documentary chronicles the hunting ground, x-rayed by several cases of victims of sexual assault in institutions across the United States. This, however, sparked reactions from a panel discussion of some Nigerians who were victims of sexual assault and some authorities in Nigerian universities.
I wasn't raped because I was dressed a particular way. We are responsible for all our actions. Are these cases underreported? I would not say they are underreported. I would say that the action of people who the cases are reported to deter other people from speaking up.
In the north, this is even more incredible, because we have been a people that never talk about anything related to sex, because that's a taboo.
Stirring up mixed emotions, they emphasize the need for strong policies on sexual offers or violators of any individual's fundamental human rights.
We have a policy that says this is what amounts to sexual harassment, and when you do this, this is where you're ending. The Akindele issue, when that girl made noise and people made noise, that Akindele now is chilling his heels in prison.
The film documentary will still be screening in Abuja as part of activities to mark International World Women's Day. and spur more individuals to speak against the monster, sexual harassment in Abuja. Gufan Shaji, NTA.
U.S. President Donald Trump's ex-campaign manager sentenced to 47 months in jail as jailed British-Iranian woman to be given diplomatic protection. Adebola Brooklyn Sunday tells us more on news outside Nigeria.
It's nice that you're joining us on this segment of the news. A small group of women are challenging traditional gender role by becoming trekking tour leaders in Morocco. Afida Doben is one of only 10 women guides in the country. She takes women-only groups to visit nomadic Moroccan women in the high Atlas Mountain. In another development, jailed British-Iranian women Nazani Zaghari Reklife will be given diplomatic protection by Britain Foreign Secretary. It means the case will now be treated as a formal legal dispute between the two states involved, Britain and Iran. Mrs. Zaghari was jailed for 5 years in Iran in 2016 after being convicted of spying, which she denies. And U.S. President Donald Trump ex-campaign manager Paul Manafort has been given a 47-month jail sentence for fraud. He was convicted last year of hiding millions of dollars of income earned by his political consulting in Ukraine. None of Manafort's charges relate to collusion with Russia in the election. Mr. Trump has always denied the charge, describing the inquiry as a witch hunt. I'm Adebola Brooklyn Sunday. Thanks for your time.
Now, sports updates comes with Kene Maburiki.